I've been that girl. I've been that girl who was carrying a lot of pain and not knowing what to do with it, and also reaching out for help or trying to get help and not getting it. Hey everyone, so today I wanted to talk to you about 13 reasons why I love 13 reasons why, and I have been debating making this video. I've been going back and forth for a while now, which is part of why I didn't do this video sooner. And my thought behind that was I don't want to draw attention to something that could you up mentally, because 13 Reasons Why will. As a viewer and as someone who loves the story, this has meant a lot to me, so here I am. But before I get started, I need to share some disclaimers. One, this video is obviously going to contain spoilers, so if you have not watched the series, don't watch this video yet, save it for later. Also, trigger warning. I am going to talk about some difficult things in this video, so if you are someone who has struggled or could be triggered from talking about suicide or sexual abuse, depression, PTSD, alcohol abuse, needless to say, I am the prime example of someone who should have not watched this video. However, I did, because hashtag no free will. So if you have any experiences with those things that I just mentioned, maybe watching the show is not the best idea, but if you do decide to watch the show, I have a few tips on what you can do to make sure that you are checking in with yourself and taking care of your mental health. There's also going to be some resources down below for you. So number one, make sure that someone in your life knows that you're about to watch this show. I know this might sound silly because it's just a TV show. No. It doesn't work that way. Anything that we consume, content, media-wise, it does affect us. And this happens with movies, this happens with music, this happens with TV shows. It's going to mess with you. It's going to possibly make you feel pretty low. That's what happened to me when I watched the first season, and then I didn't think I would watch the second season, and then I did. And then I felt really low after that, and I thought, okay, I just can't watch this show. And then, of course, curious me comes along. When Netflix shows the red, notification new episodes, I'm like, I might check back in with this. Make sure that someone in your life knows, possibly watch it with someone, and also check in with yourself during each episode, and also before playing a new episode, just see how you're feeling, how it's affecting your mood. Take breaks. If you talk to a therapist, make sure you talk to your therapist about watching the show. Also, there is a thing called vicarious trauma. It's something that affects every human unless you're a sociopath. I have a separate video on vicarious trauma or compassion fatigue, and I'll link that below because that is something that also happens. If you personally have not experienced these things, it might still affect you because you are a person with empathy. Again, unless you're a sociopath. Also, vicarious trauma, the best example I could think of this happening with someone is when you're watching the news and you notice your mood just drain. That and social media, I think, are good examples. Anyway, I just want to caution anyone who might watch this show after watching this video. It will mess with you. You cannot watch this show without it affecting you. It will. It gets very graphic, and that's part of why I appreciate it in a way, because no other show has done this like this. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into 13 Reasons Why. I love 13 Reasons Why. So number one, I have to say that I saw myself in a few of the characters, or a bit of myself in a few of the characters. Unfortunately, especially Hannah Baker, I've been the person who has carried a lot of pain, and I didn't know what to do with that pain. I've also been the concerned friend. I've been a person who struggled with sobriety. I've been someone who grew up being sexually abused. There's just something cathartic and kind of therapeutic about seeing parts of your story on film. It's almost liberating in a way. At times of watching this show, I've internally was screaming that's how it is. That's how it is. There's kind of this overwhelming appreciation seeing that and thinking, yes, that's how it is. Someone's finally drawing attention to this issue because it's important. 13 Reasons Why also showed that it is possible to get better. It showed hope. And this is something that happens over time. It doesn't happen overnight. And that's also something I appreciate about the show, is because you really did feel things happening and progressing over time. It wasn't something that, oh, this character just got better. It doesn't work that way. And yeah, I really appreciate that about this show. And this is out the progression of season 1 all the way to season 4, showing hope and that things can get better. And it doesn't necessarily happen to every individual, but it does happen and it can happen. I think this show is so reflective of our lives now in this time that we're living. And yes, it definitely showed that there is hope. And as much as you think maybe that can't happen for me, you have to realize that those feelings and all that pain isn't going to last forever, even though it feels like it will. Like, it definitely feels like it will, that you're just stuck there, but you're not. Number 3, the acting is insane. The acting is incredible. Oh my gosh. Every actor deserves an award for this show. Okay, a scene that sticks out for me is when Tyler tells Clay, again, spoilers, Tyler tells Clay that he was violently sexually assaulted. And it's the most beautiful scene I have ever watched in my life. Probably will ever watch. I love that scene so much. It's so beautiful. And that was one where I was like just kind of screaming like internally, like, that's how it is. It's so scary. If you're someone who has been sexually abused, the shame that is wrapped in abuse is so tight. So it is really scary to open up about something that happened to you. It's probably the scariest thing I've ever done is when I told my parents that I was being molested. I told them when I was 13. I grew up being sexually abused from the time I was about 4 or 5 up until I was about 9 by a family member. And that scene showed exactly what it feels like. It's terrifying. And I can't even imagine how much more terrifying it might be for a guy just because of like the gender roles we place on males. Like, boys are brought up to be strong and don't show emotion, and that kind of the expectations that we have on genders is just awful. I could see why that would be even harder as a guy to come out and say that this happened to me. But I love that they showed that. Not only Tyler, but also other boys stood up and said, this happened to me. I just love it. I love it. Because once you open up about it, then that's when the healing starts to begin. And eventually your voice gets a little bit stronger, and it's still something that's painful and something that's a part of your past. But it's as soon as you start getting help and you start working on it and you're ready to do that, I didn't think it was possible for my life to get better. And it has. Okay, so number 4, Lieutenant Dan from Forrest Gump plays Clay's psychiatrist, therapist. Oh my gosh. It's amazing. He does a great job. Great job. Love that. Season 4. Great. Okay, this is a very controversial opinion because a lot of people didn't like, there was a lot of anger over season 1, and I can understand that. As someone who read the book, I read the book years ago before I even knew there was a TV show that was going to come out. If you don't know, in season 1, they played very true to the book. Hannah Baker, they show her slitting her wrists in the bathtub, and it is, I mean, it's graphic. This show is graphic, and it will you up. Again, incredible acting. Wow. That was very disturbing, and I can see why people were furious about that, were pissed off about it. I have a different opinion. I kind of really appreciate that they showed that. It's a reminder that that happens every day. That happens. And those people's stories need to be told. I know it's ugly and horrifying and profound, but this is like what I said before. I felt like I really related to Hannah Baker's character because I know what that kind of feels like. I've been that girl. I've been that girl who was carrying a lot of pain and not knowing what to do with it, and also reaching out for help or trying to get help and not getting it. If you guys are familiar with my Jesus boot camp video, you'll know why I ended up on suicide watch. I'll link that video down below if you guys want to watch it. Basically, I accidentally joined a cult, and the only way I could get out of that was through self-harm and threatening suicide. And I eventually ended up in a suicide hospital, and then it was like I was finally believed. And I keep bumping the mic. I was finally taken out of that situation. But it took me threatening my life and running away to get out of it. So as much as you don't want to see that, and you might get angry at the show for showing that, it's there and it happens. And I can kind of appreciate why they showed it and that they did show that. Okay, number 6. Clay goes to a therapist. Yeah. What up for mental health awareness? I loved seeing Clay's character talk to someone. And in season 4, you really get into Clay's head, and it was so cool. I loved the way they filmed and edited that. It was awesome. I really, really liked like the different angle. It was very cool. I loved season 4. 7, this show touched on a lot of controversial topics that are reflective of American society and politics. Again, it portrayed real life so well. So well, with things that are going on in this country, things that are happening in our lives, showing characters different stories, backgrounds. I think they did a job well done, and it made me reflect on some of these things that are happening here in America that are very unfortunate and just heartbreaking and horrifying. Again, thinking about like when you watch the news and you see the things that are going on here, it's deeply disturbing. But I like that the show added pieces of that into this story. Number 8, I really like Ani's character. I think that freshness and her perspective really brought something to the show. Being able to see the different angles of these characters, and that kind of leads to Bryce. That especially transitions to Bryce. But before I get into that, I think it was really fun to see her like I can't talk. Detective-like character kind of piece together these things and also work with Clay and work with some of the other students. I just think that was fun. And I know it's a little ridiculous that they covered up a murder. I know it's a little ridiculous that they like outsmarted the cops. You know, just like, I'd let things slide when I'm really enjoying the show, but being able to see these characters through Ani's eyes, like a fresh perspective, that was needed, I think. That was awesome. Whoever did that. Good writing. Good writing. Cast and crew. Way to go. Again, going back to Bryce, whoa. It showed his character really trying to get better. And he really tried. But I found myself empathizing with Bryce, and I loved the scenes with his mom. Those were heartbreaking to watch, especially when he's doing yoga with his mom. That was so touching, and when they're like slinging paint at each other, it was very sweet. It was very touching, and I liked seeing that side of Bryce. It's so sad. It's so sad. Number 10, Jess. Let's just take a minute to appreciate Jess, because oh my god, what a badass. And I also see myself in Jess, because I've been that girl. I've been that girl who has been raped, who has gone through that experience, gone through people like not believing me or kind of pushing me away, aka my distant relatives. Yeah, side note, when I came out and told my parents that I was being sexually abused by a family member, my aunts, uncles, cousins took his side, not mine. That me up, probably more than the abuse did. Anyway, Jess's character, she goes from being someone who was a victim and a survivor, and she told her story. As scary as that is, as scary and terrifying as that is, she told her story, and she became like a Khaleesi before she went bad, before she became villainous. What a voice, what a strong woman. Yeah, Jess is so cool. So yes, I saw a lot of myself in Jess. We're such badasses. Coming from my story, I was so ashamed of myself, and that's what happens a lot, is you carry shame on yourself, and I didn't want anyone to know what happened to me. And then I started telling people, and somewhere along the way there was this shift. It's like I found my voice, and I was being able to articulate and put words to what happened, standing up and saying this shouldn't have happened to me, but it did. And it's happening now to other kids too, and it needs to stop. Number 11, I really loved the behind the scenes like interviews and things, and also in between the seasons, the cast will just say like a few disclaimers. They give warnings to seek help if you need it. Also, don't watch the show if it may not be for you. I really like that they took the time to do that. Number 12, Hannah Baker. Catherine's portrayal of Hannah Baker was incredible. It was better than what I was kind of envisioning when I read the book. I thought she did a phenomenal job. Whoa. Number 13, we got to see Hannah Baker at the end, and they played the song. That song, I really loved the ending, how they tied it all together. I wish there was another season. Let's petition for a season 5. Don't know how they'd do it, but they could totally do that. They should do that. Bring back 13 Reasons Why. Let's start it. Let's start a hashtag on Twitter. Let's get that trending. Anywho, that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I really love what the creators did with this show. I don't think they could have done a better job. I really loved it. If I didn't make that clear. Oh, hey, Stevie. Oh, here we go. Here we go, Stevie. Mr. Stevie likes the show too. All right, buddy. Oh, here we go. Yeah, if I didn't make it clear before, I really love the show, the crew, the talent. Wow. Blown away. Just blown away. Yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know your thoughts, opinions down below. I know some of mine were controversial. Everything's controversial these days, so I don't really care. Yeah, I hope you guys are staying safe, staying healthy, and I'll see you guys on the next video. All right, bye.